How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Unsigned Pop Punk Podcast. I'm your host, Patrick Tarnowski. Gibby is out. He's a moving. He's a man on the move, and but that's okay because today we got Matt from Los Angeles band Spinning. Matt, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, what's up? Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Happy to have you. Happy to have you. We did uh a lot of times, so I do a lot of like the research for this, but I invited some help from a pal of mine, Matt, who used to co-host the show. And to get when it's together, we like to do some deep dives. So hopefully we have some good questions for you.
Cool.
I think we'll have some fun stuff.
Exciting. I'm excited.
So we'll just start out with, talking about the new album because you just released your new album Drug back in December 2024. Tell us about the album. How's the release been for it?
It's been great. I'm so excited that it's out. I'm so happy that it's out. We're all so proud of it. It was a long time coming. I think we had kind of given it a shot a couple times to make an album, and regardless of the outcomes of those attempts, we finally got one out, and we're excited about it. We recorded it about 8, 9 months ago. Started last summer, 2024.
Okay.
Kind of a speedy process. I think we did probably 15 days with our friend Pete, who's in LA, and Pete Zen. He's a great producer, great songwriter too.
Nice.
Yeah, it was great. We got in there late July, finished up early August. We kind of did we all work and have full-time jobs, so we
Right.
kind of did every Friday through Saturday, or Friday through Sunday, for 4 5 weeks. So we would work for 3 days, do a work week, and then get back at it. So that was fun because it kind of gave us something to look forward to every week too.
Yeah.
But it was cool. Yeah, it was a fun process. Pete's awesome, and some of these songs have been around for a little bit. Like the song "Sweet" has been around since like 2018 or 19. So we finally got to record that one. A couple of them are brand new. We wrote in the studio as well. So it's kind of a mix between um, stuff that we tried and true material that we had been sitting on for a little bit that we wanted to get out, and then just being spontaneous in the studio, be creative.
Hmm.
But the release has been great. This is our first like real full length record, and it's our first release in a couple of years. So we were all kind of like just hoping that people were stoked on it and they still wanted to hear some stuff. And it seems like everybody's excited about it. And we just played our first show back in a long time too. So it's been a full comeback kind of experience the last
Yeah.
month or two. And it's been really rewarding. It's fun to kind of get back out there and do it because we were doing a lot. Um, right before COVID hit, we were kind of full steam ahead with everything. And then
Right.
when the lockdown happened, we kind of all just put it down for a minute. And then, time starts flying. And
Yeah.
before you know it, a couple of years have gone by, and it's like, well, we need to make a record. We haven't put anything out in a little bit. So the impetus for that was just trying to keep putting some music out. I always am writing songs. So I was like, let's get a couple of these down. Let's do it. So it was fun. And like I said, Pete helped a lot. I do songwriting, some like co-writing and stuff on the side from the band. And so I've been working with him for a couple months, and I was like, you know what? Like he produces and writes and stuff. So I was like, I want to work with Pete, and everybody was super on board with it. And it was just a good experience. He's a great guy, and I don't think we would have been able to make it as good as it is, or as we wouldn't be. I'm so proud of it because of the fact that it was so collaborative, and the fact that we were able to really key in on a producer that got us, and we were able to have a great rapport with. So hats off to Pete, really. And I'm just really excited. I love everything about the album. It's everything I wanted it to be. And like I said, it'd been a while since we put music out, and I was like, if we're gonna do a full length album, I want it to be everything that I love about music and all the things that I like about music. I want to have that be showcased in these songs. So did my best, and I'm just really proud of it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a killer album. I was just listening to it again while I was still working on this even today. I really enjoy it. So one of the things I was wondering, you had brought up that some of these songs, are like old from even like 2018 and stuff. And now I know exactly how that feels, having songs. But did you find like that either with you or within the band that um so like having songs, it's 2025, it's been a long time for these songs that either you were like, well, it's old. It's too old now at this point. We should just focus on writing new songs because we've had this for a long time. So
Oh, sure.
did you ever feel like maybe we shouldn't even do this, or were you like, no, I want to do this song?
For sure. There were many moments that were, is this song too old? Can if I try something else, can I do something better than this at this point?
Mhm.
But then again, it was like there are certain songs that we had, like I said, we tried to make a record once before this, and life just got in the way. We never were able to finish it.
Yeah.
So a couple of those songs were on that would have been on that record,
Hmm.
and they were kind of it was I think Sweet and June and Weekday, I think, were all songs that were going to be on that first record that we ended up not finishing. But those were like the three songs on that release that we were the happiest about and most excited about. So I figured, we were so happy about them then, and I still hear them, and I'm like, I want people to hear this. And you got to
Hmm.
keep in mind, like I've heard it for 5, 6 years, but no
Right.
one else has heard it at all.
Right.
So that was one thing to keep in mind. And I'm sure if you asked everybody else in the band, they'd say it drove them crazy how much I flip flop back and forth between if some things are too old, or if because I'm always trying to just every time I write, I'm trying to make a better song. I'm trying to do
Right.
something that's more um,
Absolutely.
just better, and
Yeah.
whatever that means to anybody else is what that means. But because it's all so subjective. But there were personal favorites within the band too, where it's like, oh no, we're not going to let that one go. I think Sweet was one of them where I was like, no, we're not going to let that one go. We're going to definitely do that one. But when we went in the studio, I made sure that Sweet was actually the first song we recorded because it was the oldest one. I was like, let's get that one done because we know how we could play it
Right. You know
clean.
how it sounds.
Exactly.
Like,
So just to get warmed up with it. So that was cool because we kind of got that. And then the rest of it was kind of an evolving, like some of the song, like I said, June was an older song, but we really changed it a lot. So there were a lot of songs that there were seedlings of ideas for that we ended up kind of delving into further and
sure.
changing a little bit around. So even though some of them were older, we still made them fresh in a specific way, or, did our best to spice them up a little bit to taste for what we're doing now. So,
Right.
but yeah, there definitely was conversations like, is this too old? Or can we should we write something else from scratch that we like just as much or if not more? But
Hmm.
I'm glad that we included some of the older songs too, because I think innately I've heard some people tell me, oh, you could tell like those are like more classic songs from like to your 2018, 2017 days. Like you can hear the influence from the songs I was
Sure.
writing. You can hear that that's kind of in that time period. And some people really like that era of the band and want to hear some more stuff like that. So I think it was good all in all, but yeah, there was definitely conversations for sure.
Right on. Yeah. I was just thinking about that because like I know for me, like and like my band like back when we were still recording more, like I mean I still have songs from like 2012 that I'm like, oh
Mm-hmm.
man, I fucking love this song. I'd love to
Right.
actually record it. But
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, dude, that's so old. We shouldn't like it was like what do you know? Huh?
A good song is a
Turkey?
good song. A good
Turkey?
song is a good song.
What do you know? Right? No. But yeah, no, I'm always like, I want to hear how these sound out of demo form, but
Right. Right.
you can't record every song though.
It's true.
Do you guys have any tour plans for 2025 at all? Or
We have uh we have a couple things planned, nothing
okay,
booked or anything too far along the line, but I think this summer we'd like to get out with a band called Tarnish.
oh yeah, I like Tarnish. They're good stuff.
Yeah, Sacramento. We're good friends with them, and I think it'd be fun to do something like that. They're doing really well right now. They're on a
Yeah.
great track, and I love that band. So, we played a show. We played our last show with them um, a couple weeks ago, and we talked about doing that. And I think that that'll probably happen, depending on what if we do West Coast or not. Not sure about that. I'm not sure exactly where we're gonna go.
Hmm.
Uh, Only place this band hasn't been so far really is like New England area and like
Okay.
the deep southeast. So at some point I'd like to go over there and get that experience in. But we'll see. We probably will end up doing a West Coast thing with them, just like a week or whatever. But that's kind of in the talks right now. We'll see when we kind of finish planning that up and when that gets announced. But it
Cool.
won't be a surprise to anybody because we've kind of been hinting at doing something like that with them for a while. So it'll be fun. They're great. They're great people and great band, and love to get back up because they have, being closer to the Bay Area in California, more like north central California. Not a place that we've been to in a little bit. We used to go there a lot at the beginning of the band.
Hmm.
So it'd be fun to get back up there. And then they've got a member from San Diego, Dane, who um, is around San Diego all the time. So just be able to, I think it'd just be fun shows all around in California,
Yeah.
the Arizona or something like that. But nothing big, no crazy month long thing yet. But we'll see what happens. I mean, doors always open.
Sky's the limit still.
Right.
So for those that don't know, before landing on the name Spinning, you guys went by Floorboards and Andy's Room. So
Mm-hmm.
what made you not only change your name like the first time, but both times and then decide on Spinning?
Well, this is a great story.
I love
Uh,
it.
Floorboards was our bass player and our drummer and me. We're a three-piece band. We started junior year of high school. So that 2014, end of 2014. So we, there was a couple of reasons why we named it Floorboards. The first, probably most apparent reason would probably be the Real Friends song Floorboards.
Okay.
And then there were also a couple of vague references. Like there's a SpongeBob episode where it's a really like trippy SpongeBob episode where SpongeBob's wearing these squeaky boots and it's driving Mr. Krabs crazy and it's everything's squeaking all the time. And he kind of has this Edgar Allan Poe. It's got this Edgar Allan Poe. Forget what it's called. Something with something heart. I'm sure.
The Telltale Heart.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Kind of a reference to that where he drives it. Mr. Krabs steals the boots and he puts them under the floorboards.
Okay.
And SpongeBob keeps asking where the boots are, and then he has this kind of like mental breakdown, going, "Oh, they're under the floorboards." And me and my friends just thought that scene was funny. So just a coupling between that and the Real Friends song, which we were all fans of in high school, kind of came up to that. And then we realized maybe 6 months before we had started a band, there was a band from Canada called Floorboards.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
and there are a lot of bands, put the state that their band is from in their Instagram
Hmm.
handle. So we were like Floorboards CA, but Canada's abbreviation is also
It's
CA. So
also CA,
we
yeah.
kind of ran into people either tagging a different floorboards, or we just kind of, however we came about realizing there was another band called Floorboards. So we decided to change it at that point because I think we were kind of starting to take things more seriously and really wanted to make sure we didn't run into any problems.
Sure.
So we, in a group chat, we're like, let's just come up with another name. And we we're all, a Pixar generation growing up on Pixar movies. So with Andy's Room, it was a Toy Story reference. That's like one of my favorite movies ever, regardless of animated or not. I love Toy Story
All
2
right.
specifically too. I'm a huge
Okay.
Toy Story guy. So that was, I think initially I came up with it, calling it Andy's Mom.
Okay.
And then I think Austin, our drummer, said Andy's Room. I was like, oh, that's perfect. Whatever. Andy's Mom was probably, I think I was even just joking. It was just like, we're just throwing names out.
Yeah.
And so we came up with Andy's Room. And then over time, we we'd seen comments or people we just talked to be like, that name, that I don't know about that name. Like, just didn't like our name. And we would run into that. Some people would love it. Some people would, I wouldn't say hate it, but some people were like, your name's interesting.
Yeah.
And then we ran into this thing where I think there's a ride at Disney World, or there's an area at Disney World in Florida, or so, one of the Disney parks, not in Anaheim, because we've all grew up going there all the time. It's not there, but there is an attraction or something that has Andy's Room in it, and so we couldn't really get a copy or a trademark for it.
Okay.
Um, so that was hard. And then just the idea of referencing Disney in your name kind of opens yourself up to possible
Yeah.
litigation type situations. So
Smart.
we decided we'll change it again. And at the time we decided to change it like 3 years before we actually changed it. We didn't know how to change our name on Spotify or any of the streaming services. It was really hard back then. Now they make it a little easier,
Oh
but
yeah.
it was
Hmm.
user friendly to do. to just transfer all of our music over under the same name, which is we eventually ended up doing, but we waited until it was easy to do. And actually, under Apple Music, we're still under Andy's Room, which we get all the time comments going, I can't find your album. And it's like, oh, it's on Apple Music, it's Andy's Room. So they take forever. I saw a Reddit post being like, oh, it took me 5 years for them to change my name. I didn't follow up or anything. I just put the request in, and 5 years later, it was changed. So I think we're just waiting
Just still
for them to
waiting
change
for it.
it. Yeah, it's only been a little bit, so we'll just keep waiting. But yeah, with being able when we came up with the name Spinning, Tiger's Jaw had an album that had just come out called Spin,
Okay.
and I really liked the name Spin. Um, and then again, I think Austin, our drummer, was like about spinning. I was like, that's a great name. So we had that name for 2 years before we actually bit the bullet and just did it,
Okay.
changed it. So, and we had to clear out all our merch, all our Andy's Room merch. So we like ran sales and stuff for that. So it was just a whole process of like that transfer. Because between Floorboards and Andy's Room, we weren't like, it wasn't big enough splash for anybody to really care. They were just like, oh, okay, cool, different name. But by the time we were changing it to Spinning, a lot of people had known us by Andy's Room and were like, okay, there's a lot. It was a different kind of transition period to Spinning
Yeah.
Andy's Room than from from Floorboards to Andy's Room. But yeah, it's just like it's a long process of, and also too, I had gotten to the point where I was like, I don't like the name Andy's Room, but you know what? Like, it is what it is. I'm sure all sorts of bands hate their name after a certain point in time. Maybe I
Oh
was
yeah.
16.
I mean, I've been there. I've been there.
Yeah. So,
uh
but another thing too is like, we had made a little bit of traction. We had done some touring under the name Andy's Room, and I was worried like, oh, people are not going to put it together. But I Spinning was just such the reason Spinning to me is a great name is because it really lets the music speak for itself. I think it's
mhm.
just, for better or for worse, it's just a word, and it
Yeah.
has a little bit of imagery in it. It's got a little bit of vibe, but it's kind of like you don't know exactly what the music sounds like until you listen to it. So that was something that I liked about the name. So that's kind of the overlining process. It's a 10-year process, but
Perfect. I love
to
it.
condense it into a 10 minute thing, that's kind of what it was.
And I mean, yeah, especially like once you've established yourself as like, under Andy's Room, and you've got merch and all, like it's not just like, oh, let's just change your name. It's like, well, I mean, we've got thousands of dollars invested
Yeah,
in
exactly.
this one
Exactly.
name. It's not that simple, but yeah, totally. I've totally been there.
Yeah.
Um, so on top of like other accolades and stuff, your song "Always You" now that reached 1 million streams at the end of 2023. So
Mhm.
how did it feel to reach a milestone that, every single band hopes for, but rarely can actually break that milestone? Like how'd that feel when you finally did that?
It felt great. Uh, it was I don't know if it was ever something I thought about, or like sought out specifically for.
Right.
But it was, I mean, obviously an amazing feeling. My family, got me balloons that has like a one balloon and an M balloon, and we went out to dinner and had a whole thing. So that was fun. And yeah, it was just fun to be able to celebrate a song that people connect with so much. I mean, it's means a lot to me for people to connect to anything I write. So it was cool, and that song really came about last minute. We were just in the studio going, let's put one more song out for the end of the year, because it was 2018. It was probably fall. So
Mhm.
let's just do an acoustic thing. Let's not overthink it. Let's just do something, on the side to showcase just a different
Right.
aesthetic for a minute. And it ended up just being people loving it. And I think it hit people at the right time. I think timing is a big factor and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, and I just think people connected with it. It's a simple song. We recorded it, I think, in a day. It wasn't anything crazy. And yeah, it was just, it really was a great feeling. It's one of those things where I personally don't um, think about what that number really means all the time. And then when I take a step back and go, 1 million plays is a lot. It's really cool.
Yeah, like I was saying, I mean, that's a milestone that everyone is gunning for. That is like, you know, you have your milestones of first 100,000, you know,
Mhm.
10,000, like a million. Like a million is nothing to sneeze at. Like that's not something that a lot of bands are able to do. So, I
I
mean,
appreciate it.
kudos,
Thank you.
congratulations,
Thank you.
that's a big deal.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, how would you say the band has changed then since like even just since your EP, Lost teaches us the worth of things.
Wow, throwing it way back.
Yeah.
Throwing it way back. That's what, 2015 or 16, I think. I mean, the most glaring difference is probably the fact that we have six members instead of three. Um, so and that process was kind of just like I just didn't want to play guitar and sing anymore. I wanted to just kind of focus on vocals. So
Okay.
um, Devin, our second guitar player, um, or no, sorry, Devin was in the band, and then our Tommy, our second guitar player to join, was in a bunch of bands in Southern California, and I've known him since high school, um, and so we had been graduated for a couple years, but we're all just going to shows together. And one day we're at a show, we'd played a show, we played with Belmont in Fullerton,
That's
and
awesome.
after the show, I was like, I gotta just do vocals, man. Like it just seems way more fun to just do vocals. So
Yeah.
Tommy was literally walking by to his car. He just came to the show to come see it. And I was like, we need someone like Tommy. Like, Tommy, you want to join? Would you join? And he's like, yeah. And then that was it. And then he was in the band. And then I think his first shows with us was like a week and a half long tour. So we had like a tour booked like 2 months after I'd asked him. And he was about to go move to Central California, Central Coast. And so it was like, he just did so much work to get that move together and still be, there with the band and make stuff happen and kind of get ingrained with everything. And then Jared, our other guitar player, third guitar player. It's weird to say third guitar player. Not a lot of bands have six members. I think the Wonder Years do, but other than that, it's like kind of rare. But Jared's a photographer, videographer who has been playing music all his life and stuff. But we had just gotten to know him really well because he had done some of our music videos.
Hmm.
Uh, he'd worked on two of them, and it was just another kind of thing where it's like we're in the studio and we're laying down three layers of guitar. Let's just try to
Let's just
live
have
and
three.
exactly. And we've got songs that have acoustic guitar going over tracks and stuff. And so there was just like there's an opening here for an extra kind of auxiliary
Yeah.
guitar type situation. So when I watch bands play, like there's a difference for me. Like when I go see Green Day play and they've got six guys up there, it just really sounds like as good as it possibly can be. It's just full to the brim of exactly what the song sounds like in your head when you're playing along, when you're listening to it in the car or whatever, and you go see them live. It sounds that way because they've got so many extra hands kind of helping out.
Right.
So I was like, and they're my favorite band. So I was like, I want to do something kind of epic and have six members. So that was kind of how that turned into. It was just kind of everybody has just been around friends for a long time, or been involved in one way or the other in the scene or in just friend groups, and just all kind of built up. But the Lost Teachers of the Worth of Things EP was kind of a different sound thematically. I guess it was more of like a Midwest emo type
Yeah.
sound that
Bit. Yeah.
or influenced Midwest emo, indie influence kind of pop punk thing rather than what we're doing now, which is more, I think, just straightforward pop punk or pop rock, pop punk. I think at
Right.
that time my voice I was just enjoying yelling and it was
Yeah.
fun and young and I didn't have to think about it too much. And yeah, we were in high school. I think we were seniors when we did that EP. Me, Austin, and Garrett, the three original members. And I think over time there was a song on that EP called Flower, which was kind of just like which I think it sounds the most like what we do now. Of everything we did back then is the most harkens the most to what we're doing now. And that song got such good, like had so much love. Like everybody would like love say, "Oh, I love that song." And it was less like noodly on guitar and like
Hmm.
crazy. It was more of a straightforward kind of indie song with the chorus and a verse. It was just like more structured. It
Sure.
wasn't, it was more of a mature arrangement, I guess. And people say, "Oh, I love that song." So I got kind of into just taking arrangements more seriously and kind of trying to craft songs that maybe, because I've always been a huge fan of pop music my whole life. So I was like, what, how can we make guitar music and do something kind of accessible, and kind of like scratch both itches with between like rock and pop, but still make it, not one dimensional, or you know what I mean? Just not make it
Yeah,
boring or cutter. So the band is always, I think the band's gotten popular and popular and popular as the time has gone on,
I would
which I'm
agree.
actually really proud of.
Yeah,
I think it's really hard to make pop music. So
yeah,
it's um, something that it's like a craft to me. So it's like a little puzzle. I try to figure out like what's the best kind of song, what's the best song we can write and still make it emotional and true and kind of dig deep into some topics that aren't super comfortable, but still write a good song. Those have always been
right.
my favorite songs. So accessible, but they have a meaning and there's emotion behind it. So the emo thing kind of has stayed with the lyrics, but the kind of package is a little more polished, I'd say nowadays. And
Totally.
that was an evolution throughout everything. It kind of got a little more polished throughout the process as we got better kind of at our instruments or at writing. So
Yeah, I mean, there's always gonna, if you're starting in high school, 10 years or down the road or whatever, like you're gonna evolve. It's gonna change, whether it's,
right.
just sonically or how you write music. When you're in high school, you don't know what you're doing yet. Even if you are a good at your craft, you're still
Yeah.
just young.
Right.
And so
For
like
sure.
you haven't figured out who you are yet, even.
Yeah, and sometimes it's funny because I listen back to some of that stuff, and like when we finished the record, me and Austin, our drummer, I keep saying his name, but Austin, he, we drove back from the studio one night, and we're like, let's listen to that "Lost Teaches Us the Worth of Things" EP. Let's listen to that, and then let's listen to the record all the way through right after, and let's really see that kind of like difference. And so when we listened back, I don't think I'd listened to that EP in a while, and we we're listening back to it, like, dang, like we had no idea what we were doing, but I'm still really proud of this EP.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Um,
It's
and
it's it's good. I was listening to it today.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. That's awesome.
It's a good jam.
That's awesome. Thank you. Yeah, it's funny to see the some people, I mean, it's to us it's growth, but to
Mhm.
anybody else who's like, "Oh, I like the older stuff more." It's like I don't fault that. Like I'm not going to be one of those guys that's like, "Oh, the newest thing we've done is the best thing we've ever done," because that's so subjective. Like there are bands that do that I see all the time and I go, "Nah, I like this other thing better." And it might be a little more raw, a little more rough. So I
Mhm.
get when people are like, love floorboards," like because
I mean, Lost Teaches is it's definitely more raw, it's not as polished. It that was also kind of back in the time where when you were recording, everything wasn't snapped to a click track.
yeah,
Uh
for sure. That
and that's
was
kind
no, sorry, you're good.
No, I was just to say, which is the way it is now.
Yeah,
For the most part, everything is like snapped right to the click track, um, and edited to be pretty much directly on it, or you got to move it around to keep it
right.
feeling natural. But
Sure. And there's a charm to the raw stuff. I mean, when I was younger, I think when I was like 14, I just got into writing songs. I'd be like, why doesn't this sound like Blink? Like, why does it? Why am I? Why is what I'm writing sounding raw right now? Like, what? Why can't I want it to be as polished as possible? I want this to sound like American Idiot. And
yeah, well,
so
then
we got
you gotta go back and listen to like Cheshire Cat or like
exactly, exactly,
Kerplunk. That's how you're gonna
exactly.
hear the raw.
Exactly. And I love there's a Starting Line EP. I think it's their
Mhm.
first EP that the I think With Hopes of Starting Over, I think it's
Yep.
called. But
Hmm.
it's got Greg's Last Day and Three's a
Yep.
Charm.
Love it.
And me and
It's my
Tommy,
favorite of theirs.
yeah, and exactly that is very all over the place, very raw compared to what they did a year or two later with Say It Like You Mean It. And sometimes I just love listening to that EP because
Mhm.
it's raw and it's something different.
Yep.
But that was definitely a conscious choice to keep getting more polished.
Yeah.
I think, like you said, with the snapping to click or just even with Melodyne or auto tune or whatever, all that stuff is what elevates. I think is what polishes it ultimately.
Yeah.
And as kids, we just didn't. know that any of that really existed probably.
No.
And just let's go record a song. And so we did, and that's how it ended up being what it was just get down and record a song. And then, you learn tricks throughout the thing. Oh, this will make it sound a little better. This will make it sound a little better. And I'm like, okay, now it's starting to sound like the stuff I listened to when I was younger. Before I delved deep into the older, raw material from polished artists, I was like, it was a satisfying feeling to be like, I feel like I'm
Yeah.
in, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how to explain it. I feel like a pop
No,
star
for
in a way.
sure. Yeah, I mean, obviously, like the more polished you are, the more like poppy it is because pop is all about, shine and polish and everything is perfect as it can be.
Right.
Um and you know,
There's
the,
drawbacks to that, but then there's also accessibility in that. So it's one of those
right.
things.
But it's like but when you make a record that's like that, like there's a special feeling. You're like, holy shit, like I did this. Like whether
Yeah.
and you could say that with honestly with any record, like you made it, it's awesome. Like holy shit, I made a record. But like when you make something that like you're sitting with like a producer in a studio, it's like, is this real? Like, am
Yeah.
I doing this? Did I
It
do
feels
this?
impostery. Like this
Yeah.
isn't like not impostery in a negative way, but in a like I feel like I feel like I'm a big like I'm in the big leagues,
Yeah,
and it's a cool feeling. It's a
it
cool
is.
feeling.
Yeah, it's special. And it's there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Uh so I was telling you a little bit that like we did a little some deep dives. And so like my our little deep dive we did so is one of your first, well, not one of, your first post on your Instagram is a photo of you playing drums on a song with Neck Deep in
Yeah.
2014 at the Chain Reaction.
Yeah.
Tell how'd that happen? Tell us about that.
Well, I had gone to the show as, just a concert goer. And they were still kind of small at that time. I think they had put out Wishful Thinking, the first record. They weren't small, but they weren't, what they are now.
Right.
And they played, I think, two songs, and then Danny, drummer at the time, um, kind of went off stage, or he had come off stage and came back on, played another song, and I don't think he was feeling. I think he was like ill, so
Hmm.
he was having trouble finishing the set. So they had the drummer, or no, they had the guitar player of Real Friends come out and actually play a song or two on drums. And then they were like 4 or 5 songs in, and they were just like, okay, let's just play some acoustic songs. So then they played like their two acoustic songs that they had out at the time. And then they still had, I don't know how much time they had left, but they still had time left in the set. So they went, does anybody in the audience know any of the songs on drums? And I was just turned 16. And I was like, I put my hand up, like, I know the songs. And there weren't that many people in the audience. There were maybe a couple guys who put their hands up, guys and girls who put their hands up. And I was just in the front. So they were like, okay, come up. And then I played Over and Over from the first EP. And then I played Growing Pains, which was on the first full length. And it was crazy. It was like I just like went off memory. I'd been drums are like my first instrument really. And
That's
I played
impressive.
drums in jazz band in high school and stuff. So I'd been playing a lot of drums at that time. I hadn't even thought about kind of being a vocalist or anything like that. I was writing songs, but not for any particular project. I just was writing to write songs. And I wasn't like crazy. I wasn't like in a crazy position on guitar to be playing guitar in a band. I was just kind of just like basic knowing chords and stuff.
Sure.
But drums, I had been playing for a while since I was like 13. So at that point, I went up there, I played, it was awesome, got off stage, hung out with the band a little bit. They gave me some merch. It was really cool.
Nice.
But I've been a fan of that band since the first couple EPs, 2013, and I'm still a huge fan of that band today. They're one of my favorite bands, I think,
No, they're awesome.
in the scene in general. And I'm just so proud of them for how big they are. I mean,
Yeah.
they have really, between them and the story so far, they're like really the two big champions of that era, which is the
Yeah.
era of pop punk that I grew up in, that Tumblr kind of era of the genre. And I don't know, it's just cool. It's like, to see them play Chain Reaction, and I saw them play there a couple times, and then just venues getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It was like, it was cool. It was like, oh, we can, like, there's a little bit of a blueprint here
Yeah.
for our band. and I'm just a huge fan. I'm probably me and Tommy in the band are like huge Neck Deep fans. Sometimes I think people want to get like, a type of way about the way certain bands go stylistically or whatever. But as we had talked about before, I'm such a fan of the polished sound
Hmm.
that every time they make a record and as it gets more polished and polished, I'm like, I love it. Like, I just love the way they write. I love that band. I'm a fanboy of Neck Deep for sure, which
Yeah, I
isn't the most common thing. I think for some reason people don't really talk about as much. Like, oh, a lot of people talk about Story So Far. A lot of people talk about bands like that. But I think Neck Deep is one of those like not dark horse, but just kind of not brought up. I feel like as much as they really should be, as far as much of their impact really was. I
yeah,
think other
I
fans talk about it, but as far as fans go, I don't hear them talked about too much
totally. No,
in the conversation.
I would agree. I think those are like they're the big two, the story so far and Neck Deep of that era, that time of pop punk. And I don't know, I would say I probably would say that I think I like Neck Deep a bit more than the story so far. I think they're both great. I think they both ever have great songs on all of their albums. I think there was like one Neck Deep album that they like kind of lost me on. I was like, meh, I don't like I can leave this.
Sure.
But they're like their newest record was I think like my top listened to thing on my Spotify Wrap this in 2024. So
Yeah,
like their new album is like great from start to finish. It's
sure. I love it.
so good.
Yeah, and I
Um
think it's an exercise in songwriting. Like I think they've gotten a lot more. I feel like it's similar in it to spinning, where it's like the early stuff has this rawness that's just a little more frantic and like emotionally, what is that called? Just like responsive to a situation. And then
yeah.
I feel like they've gotten more reflective, and I feel like that's just like a exercise in maturity and growth as a person. And I feel
Mhm.
like that comes through their music. So I love that. Source so far is a huge band for me too.
Yeah, they're great.
To me, I kind of think about the Source so far as kind of like Green Day and Neck Deep, kind of like Blink, where it's like Neck Deep came just a little bit after, and I feel like there's a little bit like legendarily wise, it's like Story So Far always has this kind of like status as being like one of the in that era specifically being one of the like forefronts of that 5 piece pop punk kind of formula, and Neck Deep kind of followed suit and did their own thing a little bit, but have kind of gotten. I feel like Story So Far has continued to stay true to themselves every step of the way, and Neck Deep has done the same. But they think staying true to themselves those are two different things to them. I think Neck Deep
Right.
is like got to take over the world kind of vibe, and Source So Far is just like they're cool, calm, and collected with who they are, and they're badass in a way. Neck Deep's
Yeah.
kind of more like showy, they
Yep.
want to put on a show and a concert. So, and I love
Well,
both of those kinds of things.
I mean, if you're looking at like in that, I would agree with like, especially if you look at their live shows, I think Neck Deep is much more entertaining, like in a
Sure.
live show sort of fashion. I
Yeah.
think like Story So Far is really good. I just don't think there are a lot there. When I go to a show, I want to see a show. I don't love when just a band just stands there.
Right. And I've
And
gone through eras where I'm like, because I suffer from stage fright, like bad.
sure,
So I've had shows where I'm like, I am just gonna stand still right now and I'm gonna get through this and I'm gonna try to sing as best as I can so that they can walk away hearing some sick music.
yeah,
So I get the standing there thing. And
sure.
but I do
I
agree with you. For the most part, if I go see Nick Deep, I know it's gonna be kind of an event and a show. Story So Far is just more chill and their approach. But yeah, like we've both said a million times, they're both amazing.
they're
Like,
both great. Yeah.
yeah, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing without either of those bands, I think for sure. So as far
Yeah,
as that era, I think those are the
well
big two.
they helped, they helped keep pop punk alive, like
Yeah,
them and Man Overboard and their defend pop punk and
yeah,
like there's without all these bands there wouldn't still be pop punk. They kept
yeah,
the 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 evolution of it and kept it changing and keeping it fresh. So
Yeah, because as a kid, it was like there was no shortage of pop punk, even in the mainstream for me. I was like
yeah,
early 2000s child. So there was always pop punk in commercials or on kids' TV shows, all the bands.
movies. Yeah,
Oh, yeah, all the cool bands or all the cool soundtracks had pop punk all over it. So for me, it was like once I got to high school, it was like, and culture had kind of shifted away from that a little bit. That wasn't necessarily happening anymore. It was like,
yeah.
how do I find new stuff? And so the scene, those bands were kind of keeping that alive. So, I
Hmm.
mean, again, it's like wouldn't be doing what we're doing without them um, at all. I think we
Right.
probably wouldn't have been able. I don't think we would have felt like, oh, we can go start a band. We don't need to go be on like the Freaky Friday soundtrack to be a pop punk band. We can still go out and just play. We could just go play shows to our friends, and it doesn't have to be this, major label thing. Like we're just going out and having fun with it.
Right.
And that was as I evolved, as I grew up, and I was like, well, pop punk isn't necessarily, the Warner Brothers isn't necessarily signing 20 pop punk fans this year, so that's not going to be my goal. And bands like Story So Far and Real Friends and Neck Deep and Knuckle Puck and bands like that were all just doing their thing and having so much fun. It was like I want to go have fun and do it. And it looks like they're having a great time. I want to go do that too.
Right.
So that was kind of
Totally.
the for us.
Absolutely. No, I couldn't agree more. All right, we got one more question before we go to a quick break. If you could give our listeners a piece of advice that you know now that you wish you knew when you were first starting your musical journey, what would that be?
Oh, I would say, I would say, don't try to say, don't try to limit yourself because of things you don't want to be perceived as. So if you are like just chasing, validation or hype or whatever, it's just not going to feel as good as just doing exactly what you want to do. I think when I was younger, it was like because I was in the scene, I'm like keyed into what's doing well, and I'd be like, how do we put a little bit of that into what we're doing? Or
Right.
I enjoyed it. It was like I love this music and I want to incorporate it. But as I've gotten older, it's like, what are the records over the last 15 years that I keep coming back to? And that's really who I am. And that's what I think musically moves me. So I think that that's a good representation of what our band could be, is all the combination of all the different things that I've always loved growing up and everybody in the band's always loved growing up, and kind of making something unique. And maybe it's not necessarily quote unquote trendy or anything, but it's true to what we all like. So I would say when you're young, it's easy to be like, oh, that's not doing well right now, or what's the hype artist right now, or what's, you know, what what should we be doing that people are going to get because of what's going on in the scene or in music in general, or aesthetically, like what's working. Like stay away from that kind of stuff. Like just
Right.
literally do exactly what you want. And if people aren't hyping up a specific thing right now, chances are in 5 years or 10 years that will be being championed, and your stuff will get found. And you'll if you're just chasing like to be in a big band or anything like that, it's just not. That's not how it works. There's a lot
Right.
of luck involved. There's a lot of you just got to work hard and be a little bit lucky. Um, I think when I was younger, I was like chasing um, some sort of self satisfaction. Like I did this, so I want to have a lot to show for it. And at this point, it's like I just want to make some music. So for me personally, that was more of a me thing too. Like not everybody's like that with music. A lot of people from the get go are just like, oh, I'm just gonna jam, have some fun with my friends.
Right.
But for people who are thinking like, oh, I have something to prove to myself or even other people, that's not really a long term solution to anything, and it's really probably not going to be as satisfying as just doing exactly what you want to do musically. And
Exactly.
then another thing would be just keep writing songs, even if you um, don't compare yourself to other artists or anything like that. I would say just like write the songs you're gonna write. If you look back on them and go, oh, we could have done better, it's like you're getting every single finish a song, even if it's not the best. and then your next song might be better. It's just like a exercise in getting better at writing or your instrument or whatever. Because I know my songs are at 14 weren't, anything I'd probably record today, but
Right.
they were each a step forward to, some people just they don't want to showcase, they don't want to release songs or whatever. I know a lot of artists who are like, there's a Instagram page, band memes 666,
Okay.
and they always have like a recurring meme about how their album is like, it's about how like, their album is never finished, and it's like, oh, we have 13 songs, maybe this year I'll actually record them, and then it's like, but we both know I won't record. Like people like write songs or they do music and they want to put it out, but then they're like, they get like, maybe I won't put it out. There's you have to be vulnerable to release stuff like that.
Yeah.
I would say just be vulnerable and be open to being vulnerable. And I think it's a good, I think it's good for yourself, just emotionally. And I think it's good for your writing and singing and instrument playing to just keep setting bars for yourself. Okay, did that. Next thing I want to do, I want to make it better for me or for anyone else. And then you just keep writing, keep doing stuff. Just like don't stop. Even
Right.
and if because ultimately if it's for yourself, you shouldn't want to stop, So they kind of go hand in hand of like just do it for yourself and keep doing it. And if you don't want to do it, that's fine. I mean, that's an easy decision. Then you just don't do it anymore. If you want to do it, just do it for yourself and just don't stop. And I think at some point you'll find something you're really proud of and a body of work that you can look back and go, that was really cool. Those were moments of my life. Each song or each era of your project is like an era of your life, like a diary in a way that
Totally.
is fun to look back on. Sometimes I wish I had journaled my whole life because I would love to key in on what I was feeling at a specific time or day or age or whatever. And I feel like, but songwriting for me kind of is
But
that.
you
So
have that. You have, 10 plus years worth of music.
yeah, it's cool.
100%. And couldn't agree more. Just, be yourself. You're not going to be happy if you try to be anything else. Just doesn't
It's hard to accept that when you're an insecure 18, 19-year-old. It's like sometimes other things can seep in. And I think
Oh,
as you get older, it's like,
totally. I know. I think
yeah.
we've all been there.
Yeah.
But that's why we're giving this advice to try and be like, don't do what we did.
Right.
Be better than us.
Right.
All right. With that, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with our next segment. Thank you again to Open Your Ears Records for partnering with us to help bring even more new artists to your attention. Open Your Ears Records is an amazing independent record label. We've talked about this a bunch, out of Richmond, Virginia, with a killer lineup of up-and-coming bands and artists. This week, we're stoked to tell you about the first track, Sinners and Saints, from Providence, Rhode Island band Another One Down, off their upcoming EP Face Reality, releasing everywhere May 2nd. Another One Down continues reinventing their sound, with records containing everything from massive pop-punk anthems, aggressive fast-paced rock tracks, and shimmering ambient ballads. Their lyrics tackle the struggles that come with self-reflection, depression, and heartbreak with a mature and emotional vulnerability. With such a diverse and rich catalog, Another One Down truly has something special for everyone. You can also check out our interview with them back on episode 104 or season 3, episode 35. Thank you so much again to Open Your Ears Records for sponsoring today's episode. And we're back. Thanks so much for sticking around through those sponsors. I hope you liked them. I hope you paused it, went and got stuff, or went and listened to stuff, whatever it is. I hope you went and did it and came back, right back. But now it's time for everybody's favorite segment, the food for thought segment.
I'm excited.
If you don't leave this part of the show hungry, if you don't leave the show hungry, we really didn't do our job. Because everybody always is hungry after this. So typically, I should have told you beforehand. Eat something. Eat a snack. Have a little protein bar or something with you.
I know. I should have done that.
Some Funyuns. Something.
Yummy.
Funyuns are good stuff.
They have a Maruchan chicken ramen flavored Funyun that my girlfriend loves.
I've heard, I've never had.
Yeah, me either. I was too afraid. I didn't want to get addicted to them.
Oh, I'm not worried about that. I'm more than okay with getting addicted to snacks. I
I'm
love
addicted to enough snacks. Those Ritz crackers with the cheese in the middle. My gosh.
yeah, those are good. I like those.
Look, that's my new addiction.
Okay. What I I don't know. I've actually been on this health kick lately. I've lost like 15 pounds.
Oh,
So
congrats.
I've been thank you. It's been a journey, but trying to get back into it. Like COVID hit and it just sent me on a spiral until like a month and a half ago. So
Oh yeah, I get it. That's what it did to me mentally.
yeah. I
Mentally, just kind of getting it together. So
Yeah, just trying to get myself as I went from a medium to a 2X. So
I bet,
it's
man.
it's
You're a handsome man, dude.
hey,
You look great. Of
thanks. I appreciate that. But
course.
yeah, we're back down to the extra larges now, so we're continuing on. All right though, but we're let's talk about fun food, not just my sad food. Um uh so let's just start, you're from LA. Yeah, you
Orange County.
Orange County, sorry. So what's the difference? Like, is that like a suburb of LA? Isn't it like in
Uh,
LA?
no, I would consider it very different.
Okay.
I think Orange County is a lot more. Orange County is as think of them as two separate things, and Orange County is just kind of more suburban in general. So Los Angeles County has so many different parts of it,
Okay.
and I live in North Orange County, which is only 20 minutes away from LA County. But as soon as I get into LA County, I'm still 30 minutes, 35 minutes from downtown LA. So yeah, I would say like Orange County is just more suburban. It's a little slower. I think
So
there's more like
wouldn't that just be a suburb?
no, because LA has suburbs. Like
Okay. Okay.
The
Okay. That's
Valley is a suburb, so it already has their own suburbs. But
okay.
and it's kind of a completely different ecosystem. Like
Okay.
Orange County has beaches and LA has beaches, but they're very different beaches. I mean, I'm sure if you talk to anybody anywhere else, they'd say, yeah, of course, Orange County is. But it's like because when you get to South Orange County, you're pretty far from LA. Once you get
Okay.
down to South Orange County, you're like an hour from LA. So, and like I said, LA has its own suburbs that are like LA suburbs.
Sure.
Um, but Orange County, people from Orange County, like we've got the Angels down here. A lot of
Hmm.
people down here root for the Dodgers and stuff, but the Angels are from Anaheim
Yeah.
originally.
Hmm.
So, and I'm from Fullerton, and they're basically the same. They're right back to back city wise. They're like I go to Anaheim all the time.
Okay.
And then we have the Anaheim Ducks. We don't have the Kings. So there's
Okay.
like there's certain differences as far as like sports goes too, and
Okay.
um, yeah, I would say like when I go up to LA and do sessions or record up there, people up there are asking like what Orange County is like. So it's like a lot of people from Orange County go up to LA for work or whatever,
Okay.
but not a lot of people from LA are ever really going to Orange County that
Okay.
much. Yeah.
That's fair. All right. Well, I see. I was just wondering. I wasn't trying to cause any beef.
No, there's no beef,
Just uh,
but I always say I'm always saying I'm from Orange County. I love Orange County.
well, and that like I say that because it to me that's very similar to like New York, to where it's like New York City, but they're like, no, I'm from the Bronx. I'm like, well, you're from New York City. Like the
Yeah, Orange
Bronx,
County.
the
The thing about
Bronx is a borough in New York City. It's still you're
right,
New York City. You're still New York City.
right. I think Orange County as a whole, because it's so disconnected from LA, like economy wise too. It's like there's not too much like LA doesn't have that much influence over Orange County in any way, if that makes sense.
Sure.
So like if LA is not doing well or whatever, or if it's doing well, it doesn't really impact Orange County of a whole different kind of. It's also I think Orange County is a little slower. Like LA is very like
Yeah.
hustle based in certain parts. I think Orange County is more like a lot of families in Orange County, a lot of like homeowners.
Sure.
It's still expensive, but it's not as bad as LA expense wise, I think, for what you get size wise. But that's
Fair
boring.
enough. That's boring. Let's talk retail. Food for
Yeah, right.
retail thought.
Let's
Okay.
let's talk real
Uh,
estate.
so, okay, but let's get back to the actual question. Okay, so you're from Orange County.
Yes.
You got friends coming to town
Hmm.
and they want a classic Orange County dinner that
Hmm.
represents your band spinning.
Wow.
Where would you send them? It could,
Well, because after practice, we always go to In and Out. So I know it's a classic California thing to say.
it
Um,
well, it is and it isn't. Because I mean a lot of people are like, well, I'm from here, so I don't eat it all the time. But
right.
uh In and Out's awesome.
Yeah, we after every band practice, we always because they're open till 2.
Yeah.
So we have band practice late because everybody has jobs. So we finish up practice. A couple of us go over to In and Out. I'll
What's your
probably take
order?
them there. It depends. If I'm really hungry, I'll do a double double, and then I'll do two Flying Dutchmans, which
Okay.
are people who don't know. It's just two beef patties with cheese in the middle. There's no bun. There's no toppings.
Okay.
Um, and then I'll get a cheese fry, which
Okay.
some people might or might not know. The cheese fries at In and Out are just a slice of American cheese melted on top of the fries, which I think are the worst part of In and Out. I think the fries aren't very good. I think a lot of people would say that.
That's pretty common. That's a
Yeah.
pretty common thought. Yeah.
So I get the cheese on there. I'm honestly kind of a picky eater. Um, so I love to eat. I love food, but I still am picky. Like I don't like tomatoes and stuff.
Same.
Like
Yeah.
I have a specialized order. Um, but other than that, I'm trying to think what else is in Southern California that would, or like
Well,
Orange County in
so
general.
do you do your double double animal style or just regular?
No, I would be open to trying animals. I'm picky. Like I haven't
Have
even
you
tried it.
not done animal style?
Never even
You
done it. The
live
thing,
you live there.
yeah, but the thing is with the animal style is like I don't love like they have the spread that everybody loves out here. They love the spread. Like people just eat the spread like
Yeah.
plain. It's like basically Thousand Island, but I don't like pickles and it's very chunky with pickles. So for me, I'm like,
I I
I'm a
can't
nightmare with food. I'm a nightmare with food. If you want to go to dinner with me, it's like
I
people just
can't
don't want
even
to do it.
I've never had In and Out without it being animal style. Never.
Well, I would here it's a testament to me for how good their beef is because I love their patties. I love their cheese is so salty. It's so good. I'm a salt guy.
Okay. Fair.
Uh, I'm not too into sweets. So as much salt as I can get. So, but I'm trying to think of another Southern California or another Orange County thing that's not as basic as In and Out because it's like that's just the first thing that comes to mind. But there's a place down here called Clyde's, and they do like it's like a Nashville hot chicken kind of a place. And that place is pretty good. There's one like 5 minutes from my house, and they only have a couple restaurants out here. So I would say Clyde's Chicken is a good place to go to.
Nice.
There's a lot of places in down where I'm from in Fullerton. We have a really cool downtown area, and there's a lot of good spots for breakfast. I would take them to this place called Rialto Cafe, and they have a great breakfast. I get the steak and eggs.
Mm.
So if we're doing breakfast, I'll take you there. If we're doing dinner late, I'll take you to In and Out.
All right. One of the things in California is, like Mexican food, just
Sure, yeah.
huge,
There's a
huge.
place called Pepe's down here that's really good. They do really good burritos that we all like. There's a place called Taqueria de Onda, which I think they have a few across even LA and Orange County. That place is really good. It's a real authentic taqueria. So
Yeah.
those are some good places. There's a lot of great Mexican food down here. Another thing, oh, I should have said this is Del Taco.
Yeah.
I love Del
Del
Taco.
Taco.
Great. I think they've kind of moved out more into the more east than they
Are
were when
you
I was younger.
are
But
you a Del Taco or Taco Bell person?
I am a Del Taco person.
Okay.
Not everybody in my band would say that. I'm sure there's a lot of Taco Bell people in the band that prefer it more, but there was a couple of us who preferred Del Taco for sure. I love Del Taco. They've got great fries and they've got great burritos and they've got
Okay.
a great burger, double Del cheeseburger. It's great.
Okay.
Can't discount the double Del cheeseburger. It's great. It's a great cheeseburger.
I'll have to try it sometime.
Yeah.
Next time I buy a Del Taco.
Yeah.
Uh, Now, you also brought up like, Blink 182. So with that, have you been to sombreros? Have you
I
tried
have.
sombreros?
I
What
have.
what are your thoughts on sombreros?
It's good. It's
It's
not
good.
bad. I mean, it's like, it's a nice little spot. I went more for the lore than
Yeah.
for the food. But yeah, that's down in San Diego. It's like an hour south, hour and a half south of us. Um, Tommy's actually from that neighborhood. Our guitar player, he's from San Diego. Grew up 15 minutes from where Tom grew up. So um, we spent a lot of time down there. And Sombreros is good. Yeah, they have a lot. I like there's like a in speaking of, we brought up neck deep before. There is in the bathroom. There's like a neck deep was here graffiti that they put up when they were down there. So that's cool. There's a lot of cool Easter eggs.
That's awesome.
Sombreros, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I'll bet they get, a lot of business just because of being in that Blink 182 song, you
Yeah,
know.
for sure.
Now with a band with a name like Spinning, we figured y'all would be experts on all things spun. So with that being said, please tell us what would go into your perfect smoothie.
Mm, okay. Well, I'm allergic to bananas, so we can't have those.
Oh,
It's very
that's
unfortunate.
that's gonna be tough right out the gate.
Um, I like, um, at Jamba Juice, there is
Yeah.
something called the chocolate mood that is
Okay.
like, I don't even know exactly what's in it, but it's got, I know I said I don't like sweets, but I do love chocolate. I'm a huge chocolate guy.
Okay.
Um, but that is like a great smoothie. I don't even know if it's a smoothie. It's almost a shake, but it's like
Okay.
that's what makes it great.
Hmm.
Um, but like I love blueberries. Love strawberries. Um, I don't know. I'm not like if you give me a smoothie and you're like, oh, it's fruity, I'll be like, okay, cool, I'll drink it. But like I'm not the biggest smoothie guy. But I should be, I
Sure.
guess, with spinning as our name. I'll tell you this. I'll tell you what makes a perfect hand spun shake though.
What's that?
It's chocolate ice cream. You got to use chocolate ice cream. You can't do the whole vanilla ice cream and then add the chocolate syrup. That's not a chocolate shake to me.
Okay.
Got to do chocolate ice cream, little bits of like you got to cut up a brownie to where it's almost granular, like where it's like it's almost just a texture. And then same thing with the Oreos, crush up the Oreos. So you do whole milk, chocolate ice cream, or chocolatey chocolate ice cream, brownies that are cut up with Oreos, spin that together, put that in the blender. I'll drink 20 of those. Love a chocolate shake with brownie and Oreo.
I mean, that sounds fire, man.
Yeah, it's great.
I like it. All right, we got one more question or food for thought. Now, this is our staple question.
Yeah,
If spinning was a potato, what
love
kind
it.
of potato would you be?
A French fry.
French fry? What kind of French fry? Any kind of French fry?
I like crinkle cut fries. A lot of people don't like those. I love crinkle cut fries. I like curly fries too.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
I love
Spirally, spinny. Yeah.
exactly. There we go. Curly fry. It's a spinning. Potatoes are probably my favorite food. So this is a great question. I love baked potatoes. I love mashed potatoes. But if we
Big
were,
starch guy. Big starch guy.
I'm Irish, so it's in my DNA. I can't help it.
That's fair. That's
But
fair.
yeah,
I
probably curly fry.
like curly fries are so good.
Yeah, I love them.
It's hard to go and they all taste like exactly the same though.
Hmm.
It's I don't know how it works. My son actually asked me, and I thought this was funny because I still know I didn't look it up, but it's like what kind of a fry is a curly fry? It's like, is it a sweet potato? I'm like, well, it's not a sweet potato, but that's a damn good question. I have no idea.
I don't either. They probably have a press it goes through, I guess. But I feel like because there's so much potato that gets discarded if you're trying to make it that shape. How many curly fries can you get out of a potato? You know,
Dude, I don't know. I don't I feel like I need to watch how
how
this
it's
is
made.
made or
Yeah,
something, like
on
on
curly
curly
fries.
fries. Oh
I
my
love how they're
gosh.
always seasoned too.
Yeah, they're
So it's like,
perfectly
yeah,
the same
yeah, exactly.
everywhere.
I love tater tots as well. That's a good one. But
Tater tots are good, but seriously, it doesn't matter. You can get store bought, you can get I have never had a curly fry that didn't just taste like a fucking curly fry.
Very true. Very true.
Oh man, like my mind,
Consistency.
dude, my mind is
Consistency.
spinning right now. Like
There you go,
what?
dude.
Like
That's what I'm here for, dude.
after this, I just need to I need to do a deep dive into curly fries. Do an entire podcast episode just about curly fries and the
I'll
history
watch
of
it.
it.
I'll be there. I'll be in the comments.
Well, this is going to be part of the Food for Thought podcast. We're going to start a
Oh,
whole food podcast,
I can't wait.
punk rock food podcast.
I'm looking forward to that.
Oh man, we should. I really should. We've talked about it. All right. Well, that's the end of the Food for Thought segment.
Okay.
Now it's time. This is it. It's time for rapid fire questions.
Friendships will be tested. Rapid fire questions.
You're just
Go.
going to speak from the heart. You're going to shoot from the hip.
Okay.
Whatever the first thing that pops into your mind that so I'll give you two options. So whatever the first thing that pops in your head, even if, right? Even if it's one of the two options presented before you,
Okay.
you speak your truth.
Okay. I'm ready.
All right. Monster Energy or Rockstar?
Rockstar.
Pop punk or emo?
Pop punk.
Taylor Swift or John Mayer?
Taylor Swift.
Skinny jeans or baggy pants?
Baggy pants.
Disney Plus or Netflix?
Disney Plus, but only because they have Family Guy on there.
It's true. It's true. They have all Fox stuff.
Exactly. Hulu.
Hulu. Yeah. Stuffed crust or deep dish pizza?
Stuffed crust.
Vans or Chuck Taylors?
Chuck Taylors.
All right, and this is it. Last one. The All American Rejects or The Offspring?
All American Rejects. That's easy for me.
That was
I
so
love
easy.
My sister showed me them when she was in high school. I was probably 6 years old. She was just at that age where she was in high school, and that was popping off, and that changed my life too. That her showing me that really changed my life. My sister Lauren, she showed me them. It was crazy. She had their CD, so their first CD before Move Along, the self-titled one.
Yeah, self-titled.
I was like, huge game changer for me.
Yeah. I've brought this up more than once on this show, but I worked at Hot Topic, and because of that, I actually got that album, their self-titled one, before it was re-recorded
Oh wow.
with a drummer. Because
Wow.
first it was just
Program drums.
program drums.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So,
cool.
It was pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
There's some great songs on that album. Amazing songs.
It's probably the overall my favorite album of theirs, but
Yeah, Move Along is great though.
yeah, Move Along is really good, and most of their stuff is really good.
Yeah.
But like my favorite song of theirs, like above everything, is the last song.
Love that song.
That's my favorite song. I
It's a
love
great song.
that song.
And there's a song on that record that Time Stands Still.
Mm-hmm.
I love that song. That's one of my favorite All American Rejects songs for sure. A lot of my favorite All American Rejects songs are on that album.
Yeah. They had so many good songs on that album.
Yeah. They're a great band. They're a great band.
Like other than that, like probably my second favorite song, Gives You Hell. Love that song.
Yeah, that was big. My whole family loves that song. We would play that in the car all the time when I was like, whatever, 11 or 12, whenever it came out. And it was just like, this is such a great song.
Banger.
Yeah.
Straight banger.
Yeah. I'll give you my top 5 pop punk bands real quick.
All right.
Green Day. I don't know if people consider them pop punk, but I do.
They're 100% pop punk. But
Some people
yes.
are like, oh, they're just like a rock band now, whatever.
Nope.
Green Day, Blink, Sum 41, All American Rejects, Starting Line. That's my top 5.
Dang.
Kind of a basic top 5, but it's like,
no, it's a good top 5.
It really is to me what the genre is. So they're in my top 5. All American Rejects in my top 5 for sure. Always will be. Great band.
I like the Sum 41s in there. I love Sum 41.
Love that band. Rest in peace.
Yeah. They'll be back.
Yeah, I know.
They'll be back. They're
I got
like,
to see them at Chain Reaction too. They did a surprise show. They like announced a day of, and me and my bass player Garrett were like, we got to get tickets to this. So we saw them like 250, 300 people. So that was crazy. So when they
That's
did their
awesome.
good farewell shows or whatever, I was like, oh, I got to get tickets. And then I think we were recording our music video for Winter the day the show was, so we didn't end up being able to go. But I was like, yeah, I saw him at Chain Reaction, so it's like can't get better than that. So
yeah, it's pretty rad.
it was cool.
That's pretty awesome. All right, man. Well, that's it. You did it. You finished the podcast. All that's left is let everybody know what you got going on, where they could find you, and what's next.
All right. Well, you can find us on Instagram at Spinning Band. Same on Twitter, I think. Might be Spinning Band CA.
Yeah,
all of our music on Spotify, Apple Music. On Apple Music, you can find us under Andy's Room. We covered that, but right now, it's under Andy's Room. Our new record, Drug. Go take a listen. We've got 2 music videos for the 2 singles, Makeup and Winter. They're on our YouTube. Just look up Spinning Winter. You'll find them. Nothing crazy booked yet for tours or shows right now, but just if you follow us on the socials, you'll see what we're up to on there. And yeah, I think we're just going to keep promoting the heck out of this album. And then hopefully at the end of the year this year, we'll have some more songs, record a couple more before the year's over. And then hopefully we have a record out sometime in 2026. Yeah. That's we're thinking pretty far ahead. So
you should, as you got to do. As you got to be right now.
We're just going to keep going. That's what we're going to do.
Just keep swimming.
Sir.
Well, Matt, thanks so much for hanging out with me today. This is awesome.
Thanks for having me. It was really fun.
It was my pleasure. All right, y'all. Thanks so much for listening. This has been another episode of the Unsigned Pop Punk Podcast. We'll see you all on Monday. Thank you so much for checking out the show. Please hit that like, subscribe, or follow button so you never miss an episode. And thank you to those who already are. Please rate and review the show to help the show be found by new people. And if you're in the position to help us grow, head on over to our website where you can find merch, our Patreon, and other ways that you can help at www.unsignedpoppunk.com. Let us know in the comments who else you'd like to see on the show and what other content you would like to see. Thank you so much for spending your time with us.